Hi YouTubers, fellow installers and customers. It is now officially spring in South Africa, early September, and we hope to see a vast production in solar yield as the sun gets higher in the sky. I wanted to just make everyone aware of some tips as we move into the sunshine season, and also some important announcements on some free tools that are available to help you monitor your energy and reduce some of your costs. So we are a Victron installer, and we're part of the Victron professional community, and we are very excited to announce that Victron have released some free software that you can run on a tablet, an Android tablet. Can be an old tablet, one that you may not be using anymore because it doesn't have enough memory. It's a very simple process to load the software, and it acts as an external monitor for your Victron system. This can be very useful when it comes to energy management. We all follow a process called self-consumption. The idea behind self-consumption is you consume as much of your power needs during the day while the sun is shining, pool pumps, dishwashers, washing machines, all of that, and then you heat up your water from midday till 3 o'clock to a higher temperature, 65, even 70 degrees, and that gives you a tank full of hot water and a fully charged battery for the commencement of the evening. And then if you have a sensible power consumption profile, your battery should last you through till the morning, meaning you've reduced your dependency on the grid and save some money. So in order to do that, you do need to monitor your system and be aware of how things work. So Victron has some fantastic monitoring tools. There are apps available on your phone. There are things called widgets. So if you're not familiar with a widget, you literally go onto your phone, and if you have the Victron app installed, you simply press and hold the Victron app button and a widget will pop up. A widget is something that remains on the screen, and you don't have to log in every time, and it'll show you the quick status of your system. Victron have always had remote screens that can be connected to a Victron inverter. They're fairly expensive and quite limited in where they can be placed. Had to always be on an HDMI cable close to the inverter. They've now released this free software that gets loaded onto an Android tablet, and it's quite a simple process. You literally set the tablet back to its factory defaults, you scan a QR code, it loads the software. All you need to do is enter the IP address of your Victron inverter, which we can help you with, and the rest is plain sailing. So you then can choose from a variety of different displays, but this is probably the most simple one, just showing you a state of charge of battery, your consumption in and out. And if you want to get more technical, you can have an overview that shows you exactly what's going on with your system, and very easy to follow, and also things like any errors or faults will actually pop up as well. So just in terms of energy management, these tools are really useful and can save you some money. One of the top tips that we always we always recommend is 40% of South Africans' consumption is heating hot water. So if you can reduce your dependency on the grid by heating your own water and conserving that heat, you can dramatically reduce the cost of your electricity bill. And with the Cape Townians experiencing increases in their rates, I'm sure everyone's looking at how they can save money. So our recommendation is just have a think about how you're using water in addition to heating it. So using a thing like a geyser wise that enables you to program how you heat your water in both time and temperature means that they can coincide with your solar production. So the two, although they're not connected to each other, by time and temperature, you can set profiles that work fairly well. That's one of the biggest saving. Other considerations are just be careful of things like mixer taps in your kitchen, because if you have a mixer tap that's set in the center position, every time you fill a kettle or use cold water, you're actually using some hot and some cold, so you're depleting the water out of your geyser or your hot water cylinder, as they are known in other countries, and that obviously increases the amount of energy that needs to be put back into that. Other things that are important is you can actually lag your pipes. You can put insulation around hot water pipes to save some energy. A blanket over the geyser or over the hot water cylinder dramatically improves the insulation and can save, especially during those cold winter days. So pay close attention to things like hot water, and also remember there are things that's called dead legs, so that's the amount of water that has to flow before it becomes hot. Sometimes it's easier to just use a small amount of kettle water rather than running a system that has to run for many minutes before it can get hot. In addition to that, just be aware of things like if you have a swimming pool, setting your timer so that it runs during the solar hours, and we don't always need the excessive amount of filtration that's pool companies recommend. You can get away with less, and that can also save you energy. Of course, if you have a surplus of energy, then run those devices, but just be aware that on cloudy days they're going to be draining your battery. So there are some programming things that we can do to help reduce those loads further. So those are a few quick tips that can help you save energy. Obviously, we monitor all of our clients and we help them with things like load shedding, which is when the power cannot be delivered and there's a reduction in there's a lapse in power, and then you have to use battery to get through those non-essential loads, and setting the battery reserved so that you can use the maximum amounts of battery capacity is pretty important. We do have the facility in the Western Cape to sell excess power back to the grid. We get R1.20 per kilowatt hour. Buying at 3 and getting back 1.20, it is just over a third, but these do actually add up over time, especially after midday when you have a surplus of energy in the afternoon and there's nowhere for that energy to go. You're saving the planet and you're saving your fellow neighbors some energy generation by putting it back into the grid. The meters that are needed to allow bidirectional are called AMI meters. They've come down from about 12,000 Rand to 6,200 Rand. But there's quite a lot of paperwork in getting that process done. If you're going to be in your property for a long period of time, you've got some surplus solar, or you want to add a few extra panels, as panels have halved in price recently, this can all contribute towards leveraging off the system that you've invested in and generate a little bit of additional income to offset some of those new rates bills that we're all paying. So I hope these tips help. If you need help in any way setting these things up, if you're interested in the Victron monitoring application, we'll be happy to guide you. I can link down to some installation videos, and if you need any technical information in your system, just drop us an email. Cheers.